was locking down there, they decided to go up the hill and maintain their blockades up top, or the middle point and the end point at Neverland. So we're reorganizing our blockades down here. We're still keeping it blocked off.
Just right at the road.
Right at the road. But if you guys want to hike up to Neverland, it's about an hour.
Yeah.
You got some water?
Yeah, and we're taking food up there also.
Oh, awesome.
We brought food for them.
Wow,
Baked goods, I understand, is what they asked for, and that's what we've got. Do you want to just tell me about the change of plans and what brought them about? The last time we were there were marvelous trenches in the road.
Well, what we found out is the road, basically all the way to the top of the ridge, is not actually a Pacific Lumber Road or on Pacific Lumber land. It's on rancher land, and the rancher's name is Scott Dunn. And they've been very nice. They're actually sympathetic to our cause. I believe they don't like Pacific Lumber's forestry practices. And even though they've agreed in the timber harvest plan to let them use the road and give them an easement, we definitely have a feeling that they're not very supportive of the Maxim-led Pacific Lumber Company and their harvesting practices, but they let them use the road. We found this out many weeks after we actually had set up our blockades with the intention of keeping every vehicle out. And in the interest of community relations and making sure that small landowners have access, and there's also another homesteader who lives down the road as well, we've decided to make our barricades or blockades movable, meaning that the road will be open, but there will still be blockades in place to block Pacific Lumber from going to the top and continuing any work or disturbing the crime scene. We realized here there are a lot of people locally who are supporters, and there are a lot of people who support us and don't necessarily like Pacific Lumber and what they're doing to people in the forest and the jobs here. So they're sympathetic, but of course they're in a small neighborhood, they're in a small town atmosphere, and they can't really speak up or support us. But we feel that if we kept the small landowners out of their land, it would only be worse. It would definitely backfire against us. So it's kind of a historical, groundbreaking thing. Earth First is filling in the trenches and making our blockades movable. It seems kind of strange, but you can't have one no compromise rule apply to everything.
Hi. How's it going?
What's going on in the wonderful blockaded living room?
Well, the original blockade is going to be moved back to the end of the Caltrans guardrails right here. We'll no longer be on Caltrans land, but we're still going to use the guardrails as a first line of defense because they're not going to pull those guardrails out of there. They'll pull us out first. The doors you see here now are going to be pulled back. 2 of those metal panels are going to be hinged, so the Dunns can winterize their road, but Palco cannot go up using this road to pull the logs out of the timber harvest plan that Gypsy was killed at. So right now you're watching us clean up the living room. We're gonna pull it back. There is no longer going to be a target front line of defense. The security that has been out here this past week has had bottles thrown at them, rocks thrown at them. There was a pickle jar at some point thrown at us. There were some 22 shots fired off the other night a little bit off the road. We're having paintball guns shot at us, and so it doesn't do us any good to stand on Highway 36 and wave. We've stood our ground, we've made our statement, and while we will still have a presence here with the castle gate that we're only allowing the Dunns through, and we'll still have a presence that no one driving by will be able to see in the trees and the such, we will have radio contact with Neverland up on the top of the hill in Monster Village that is doing the direct support guarding the timber harvest plans up there, but this is going to look totally different tomorrow morning. 3 days ago, a very precedent-setting event happened right here. Some private landowners, very large private landowners in this area, 5th generation logging family of Humboldt County, sat down and had negotiations with Earth First. And we're very happy that we've broken through the barrier of private property against environmental interests, because Maxam is the bad guy here, and we all know that. And the Dunns have allowed us to not let Palco into the road by whatever means necessary, as long as the Dunns can come in. The Dunns gave us 1 week as of last Friday. So as of next Friday, The Batmobile, the Gypsy Mobile that is currently blocking the road up there with people locked down to it, will be moved. The gate will still be there for our use against Palco. This will be different, as I said, and all of the little slash pile blockades that are up on this road will be cleared so the Duns can use private access to their road.
What are you going to do with this hammer?
Well, this hammer, I'm going to hang on to it because if I don't, it's going to disappear. We really have to, care for our tools up here. Everyone has a claim to the, to the tools, and it's not that we know all about how to take care of tools, but it sure helps for the main crew that's building things to have control, a little bit of control. But that's what you learn in this kind of situation. You learn from scratch, and that's really what's so valuable in starting, kind of starting over in a movement like this. We just kind of like evolve from scratch and make all the mistakes possibly the Neanderthal man made, and we get very sophisticated as a result.
Where is that hammer going in the next 5 minutes?
Thank you for getting me back on track there. We're making a door now so that we can meet the specs for the agreement that we've made with the Dunn family, so that our whole barricade moves on a pivotal point, and it's hung about it's where you can see the barricade up there at the top of it, at the edge of the green tarp. Well, that's going to hang at the same level over on that big post, and on hinges, and then we will, from the top, we will string this cable-like thing we're making, because that's all we have. So we're going to string it from there over to the door, and just so we don't depend entirely upon this little thing we've cemented in place, we have wheels on the bottom, and we'll be able to swing it when we want and keep traffic out when we don't want.
Coming up from the mouth of the encampment, they've just barely moved the huge dead logs, but what has been done is the first trench is now already filled with small stones and gravel and dirt, with 2 enabling logs on top of that. They're getting ready for that small logging family.
Hi, I'm Kermit, and I just got off lockdown down on the bottom, and now I'm up at the top. I'm doing a supply run. Today it's probably going to be construction supplies for various projects, and I don't know, either that or I'll get food and water, which is like a pretty typical supply.
How do you haul enough water up there?
Actually, there's a spring up there, and there's a pump stashed, like where nobody can find it except the people that know about it, and we go up there and we pump our own water out of the spring, because it's a water filter, it's like yeah. So
hand pump.
So we carry. We've got jugs on strings. We've just got they hang down all around you, and you just fill up as many of those as you can every time you go up, especially if you're empty-handed. Sometimes if you got a fat load on your back, you don't want to, but you just put it all on strings and carry it up. Sit there with the pump and make water.
How did you first hear of this sovereign mountain? This now sovereign mountain?
Somebody handed me a flyer in Santa Rosa, and I came up here to check it out.
Somebody has left juice for people climbing up. Look, it's a copy of Judy Berry's Timber Wars. What a way to pass a respite here. Thanks, Judy. Covered up safely. Past the oldest redwood tree on the road, where the altar to Judy and Gypsy is celebrated with juice and a book, there's some minor barrier work still in the road. I think the bigger areas have already been pulled out. I always wondered where the barrier material was coming from, but it's just all up and down this slope, the old woody debris where it belongs, feeding the forest floor. The spring we saw diverted just a week ago has already started crevicing, and this part of the rope isn't even that steep. And here, someone who knows what gulling is all about has attempted a primitive water bar. And here some other bioengineers have built some mounds in an attempt to stop the water from going. So there's lots of attempts to keep this water from this spring from going down the road. There's the spring itself. With some handy water containers nearby. Bob, who was a 50-mile marathon runner, tells me the best way to go up slope is with real small baby steps, 1 foot in front of the other, instead of long strides. I don't know whether the camera's really catching how steep it is. This is very, very steep with a helicopter doing some kind of surveillance above us. This, again, is that spot where the pampas grass had started to invade, right where the steep slope crooks around the road. And I don't know whether you can notice, but I definitely do, that wherever there is pampas grass growing, there's not nearly as much slide activity as in the very adjacent area, right next to the pampas grass. The pampas grass, too, even though it's a invasive species, knows what it's doing. All this vegetation seems to know what it's doing. And here's the downhill view of the pampas grass behind the area that slid without pampas grass. The pampas grass holding on to the soils. It looks like a face in that tree, and that face looks like it's crying. It's almost like stigmata, nose bleeding or snotting. Some other species giving off the same message as the folks defending the rest of this forest land. That's what butterfly talks about trees weeping with their sap. Somebody has made a statement in the road here, stick mantra. Bob says this is the gateway to Never Never Land.
Cables for the big bipod. Looks like it is maybe 70 feet.
Remember,
Have to see it around the curve.
there's the encampment at the edge of the trench. We get to the very edge of the trench.
Equipment exclusion zone.
That's in the middle of the trench. Bob's climbing the stairway. And there's the encampment.
A man named Climber Dan
Yeah.
is said to this morning, I'm a reporter from Boulder, Colorado,
Uh-huh.
and he said this morning that he hauled a hippie out of a tree somewhere else.
In the Mattole,
Yes,
at another site.
that's
He
right.
said today, but he didn't say he pulled somebody out of the tree today.
He said he pulled him out of the tree this morning, a.m.
Whoa. Oh, whatever that was.
Josh knew who it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was somebody that Josh said, was a bit of a disruptive force, and that he decided to do his own tree stand. So he's not an earth firster, but he was doing his own tree stand. They dragged his ass out of the tree. They're Patagonia. Actually, I bought them for you. Yeah, Patagonia.
Yes, I brought
But
them
share
in.
them. I mean, you know, I
Yeah,
appreciate-
definitely. They're communal, but I
Yeah.
have some too. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I really appreciate the interview yesterday and everything.
Right, good
And
timing.
I also have some coffee here.
I can go to the kitchen over there.
Yeah, oh, want to bring it over the other one because I'm going all the way over.
It
Or this
doesn't
one.
matter. Just probably this one, you know.
Okay. And what else? I have a pack of cigarettes too.
You can put those at the kitchen too.
I really don't I'm not really into dispensing tobacco, but
No, that's all good. You bought the right ones.
yeah, you know, I mean, I figured. Well, actually, I did not buy them.
Oh, yeah?
mine-
Hey, that's even better.
If you know the woman who was here with me yesterday, Jane,
Yeah.
she bought them.
Oh, Jane's a sweetheart. It's a bipod. It's a 72-foot monument to bipolar anarchism, and we erected it on someone else's land besides Palco's because it was convenient and just because we were expecting to have to stop crews from coming in the next morning, so we didn't take into consideration who owns the land. We just knew that it's a haul road taking logs out, and so we're gonna remove the bipod from Mr. Dunn's land and move it up the road to PL's land and erect it there with a lot safer strategy in mind with erection, and safety is of our highest concern.
Yeah, now we're about to go down and clear the road for Mr. Dunn too.
Okay, so I'm going to follow you a little bit, Farmer. I'm glad to have run into you again.
Start fire. Yeah, I seem to have a lot of them. Samson!
Farmer,
Farmer.
did you go to Texas?
No.
What's been your life this past week?
I've just been living here and helping out with whatever. Labor or just living here. Just keeping the occupation going.
Any specific tasks stand out to you for other men who want to occupy forest lands for purposes like this?
Well, the first night of Never Never Land, when we built Never Never Land, we put it up in one night. We worked straight through the night, and we raised the tripod, and we dug the ditch, which we have to move both of them now because we didn't know before, but now we know that they're on Mr. Dunn's property.
How did you get that ditch so squared?
The soil is really soft. It's mostly clay, and we have a pickaxe, so we just carved it out.
What have the nights been like here?
Mostly dry and mostly cold, but there's been some nights where it dewed a lot, and there's been some nights where it rained. Otherwise, it's pretty cool. It's pretty hospitable.
So you're 16 and 2 weeks older than the last time I spoke with you at the county courthouse, waiting to go in and talk with the detective who's supposed to be making an investigation into the death of Gypsy.
Right.
What was that interview like between you and he?
Well, it was pretty cool. He wasn't mean or anything like that. Although I heard from the others that he was mean to them. I think he was trying to be nice to me so that maybe I would slip up and say something stupid or make a mistake or something like that, and he would be able to use that against us. He asked me pretty simple questions and stuff like that. It wasn't really that bad.
Do you feel the tally of time? Do you feel yourself growing in any way?
I feel a little bit, but I don't know, time is passing by really fast right now.
It's protected by chicken wire, so you can't easily take a chainsaw to it. Okay, so now we're on PL land, and this is called a side cast, as if naming it makes it all right. Here's an extant redwood tree right on the side of the road. PL land starts right where the road dips. Now this is a blockade. Enough room to walk through, not to drive through.
Looks like where they're going to move the bipod to, or on PL land.
Yeah, that's all.
Holes here in the sky above to lift the bipod somehow, and they've spiderwebbed the road with some kind of cable ahead.
Down here at the beginning, before you get to Monster Villages, it's kind of like cross-wired. That way, if they try to bring ATCs, trucks, cats, if they try to basically move anything off the road, they're going to have to cut each one individually.
Wow.
And that takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
'Cause these are real thick cord, and they're not easily cut with bolt cutters or anything. So it makes it a real problem for vehicles to get up here.
Are you moving the bipod here also? Is that the intention? Or
yeah.
is this a separate strategy?
This is a separate strategy, all apart. Up here, we're going to have dragon pits where those holes in the floor are. We're going to have dragon pits, and what it is, it's cement boxed into an aluminum trash can, and people lock into them. They build holes in them. And you can't break out the concrete once somebody's in them, because if you try to chisel them out, you might risk breaking the victim's wrists or arms or something, which a cop can't do, because that would be harm.
Do you still have that kind of faith that they won't deliberately harm you?
Well, they will. I've been pepper sprayed, pressure pointed to be restrained. I've been submitted into very, very uncomfortable positions. But at the top of the hill up here, we have a couple of cats and a thunderbird. I was locked up to the cat and the thunderbird, which is, say, about 100 feet up the thunderbird is. And we're in a lockbox, basically. We got one bar in between our legs, and we're locked into it.
Why are you doing this?
Because one of our carmans died up here, and nobody really cares, you know? The cops aren't doing anything about it, neither is PL. And, I mean, just look at the trees. Why wouldn't anybody want to do their part to save these trees? Plus, I'd feel too guilty if I wasn't up here. I was raised and brought up here as a kid, and I have a baby on the way, and I don't want my baby to be raised with the fact that there's no trees out here. I mean, I want him to see what a beautiful thing this is. When you go up to the top of the hill, there's such a sight that it's breathtaking, it's moving. And I want my children to be able to see that. Because if we don't do this, this place is going to be clear-cutted soon. I don't want to see that happen. Not only that, we have Gypsy to think about. I mean, he was a really good man.
An old stump with the springboard cut. Fire-scarred trees, indicating a healthy forest, are still standing. And the tree on the ground is also fire-scarred. Fire is what these forests want, not herbicides. These may be the tire tracks that Mike McCurdy recorded the day that Gypsy Chain was killed. More damage done by the tractor. And now we're approaching Monster Village. You can see the ardor that Mike McCurdy saw in the background when he was taking his last film.
Magical webs of love and peace and protection all around, and from all the trees all over these machines there's still fragments left, and down to the tree that Gypsy died, and we had the teepee set up there, and we had all around the teepee.
Yarn?
Yeah, like magical thread. We wove it with prayer and with just peace in mind.
What is it like? I mean, you're at the top.
It feels like it's the crown chakra. Like as you walk up the mountain, you walk up different chakras, and this is the top, and this is where a lot of prayer is, a lot of music and rituals, ceremonies, just really healing for ourselves and seeing these cut trees as part of us, you know, our hearts and our spirits that are hurt, and just to heal that.
What is your forest name? What name have you taken?
Allison.
Allison.
It's my birthday.
Okay. How do you pray, Allison? What kind of prayer is drawn from you here?
A lot of freestyle. It's just like letting the energy flow through me, like the spirit of the redwoods or gypsy, or you know, just the spirit that moves in all things, and a lot of we are one, and just being in the moment and really enjoying all the joys and feeling it all, and if in the present, you know, any kind of feeling comes up, to really feel it and empower it and put it in its place.
What is beyond here?
In that direction's the clear cut where Gypsy died. And there's a lot of down trees.
Tell me about it in the way you see it, the way you describe it.
You just walk up and it's a clear cut and dead trees, and there's a couple altars there, and we went there on the full moon and we had a fire pit and we did a ritual. And yeah, just really going there and here too, and just seeing all this is me, all this pain and hurt and abuse I've done to myself also. So I have to heal that so that it can heal the world, you know, like inner peace starts with world peace kind of thing.
Gap guys have bought 235,000 acres of what was once LP land, and they want to tear it down. They want to take out 40% of what they call the volume. So we've stood them off for 5 months now, and they want to helicopter some trees they managed to get down before we occupied it, and we want to put up a village on top of the trees. So y'all welcome.
Wow, you'll be in the propel it straight, it'll take you right back.
Okay.
This is the end of the road. Yeah, this road dead ends right into the clear cut.
And we're told there's thread going all the way there to the left of the road. Tell me what it has been like these past 2 weeks, this fortnight, to occupy what is essentially a sovereign state, to make up your own rules, if not regulations or ethics, your mores, your ways of being. And I'm deliberately not showing your face because I know that you have been a part of other actions. Okay.
There is a lot of power in taking back an area, be it public or private land, in defense of the loss of the ancient forest, especially one that, you know, one of our comrades, Gypsy, passed in. There is definitely, it's really rooted into kind of our roots, you know, of our foundation of, you know, freedom, or what we call freedom, or wish to call freedom. I mean, ultimately, I believe in reclaiming our roots. I believe that, you know, this land ultimately is really the indigenous peoples, yet for those of us born here on this continent, feel a deep affinity, you know, with the land. And so by reclaiming areas, it really, I believe, sends a message of that we can use our nonviolent tactics and our spiritual strength to resist.
I know after you've been in a place for a fortnight, it feels as if you were going to occupy the state forever. That rarely happens. And yet there's something gained from short-term occupations. What is it? You've been through others.
Yeah, a local came up the other day and was like, you know, what if this is going to be a success? And to me, it already is. Just the essence of people, you know, getting together and especially out of this, turning tragedy into something really is the most positive thing we can do. So to me, it already is a success in that sense It's something, no matter what happens here in the end, that cannot be taken away from us, from this land. It's what I've noticed in other free states is really community is strengthened, community is ignited by resistance and by coming together. You go through the struggles, you know, especially, you know, if stuff comes down or there's a shift or, you know, just things happen, and they're trying times, but we're relearning how to communicate with each other and to build community with each other and to support each other, and this is one of the forms of doing that. Well, I've been connected with this area for a while now. You know, I knew Gypsy, and he was a very kind soul, and you know, when I found out, I was planning on coming back here anyway, so, but I knew that I would have to definitely come back and do what I can to protect this place and make it a memoriam for David Shane.
Another ferry trench just past Monster Village on the way to the
Clear cut.
Clear Cut. It's gotta be Highway 36.
Highway 36. Okay, there goes Highway 36, and somewhere on that horizon behind it is Julia Butterfly's tree. And we're on our way now to the Clear Cut where Gypsy Shane lost his life.
This, I believe, is the gully. There's trees down, one of which I'm pretty sure is the tree. This is the draw. Looks like firs down on the farther side of the cut. Redwoods heading straight downhill, right closer to the front and just past all the slash. Don't think I want to go any farther. This is the crime scene.
So is that the place where Gypsy lost his life?
Yeah, down the hill there, those trees.
Which
I think
tree?
heading down the hill, there's too many trees to tell. They're all on top of each other, and there was footage just a minute ago that showed more of the trees. I was up closer, but it's pretty definitely the spot. Right off the road here, and Beth wanted to see all the churned up earth. There's the clear cut across the way. There's a stump right in the front that's looks like a fir stump, so probably not the tree, but I don't know if we zoom in whether we can see the clear cut. It's kind of hazy because PL's been burning slash for the last 3 or 4 days, not right in this area, but the smoke drifts.
This is what loggers leave behind. There's the cable. Just container after container of leftover gook. This is yarding cable up this road that was abandoned. A skid road.
Stumps, big redwood stumps, just pushed over the edge of the road like an old dead car.